Give it over, Rhiannon.
Why didn't the shark attack the lawyer? Professional courtesy. Some say the Mayans predicted the end of the world in 2012. Perhaps they were right. I'm no doomsday believer, but an unexpected meeting that year ended my life as I knew it. By chance, I met a lawyer in Cape Town organizing an event to introduce a US lawyer, J. Kim Wright, who had spent years traveling the world, living out of a suitcase, sharing the story of a more integrated, holistic practice around law. It's a disaster, Amanda said. I can't fetch Kim from the airport. So I happened to be free, and I said, I'll go. So clutching a LinkedIn headshot, and with some mild anxiety, I headed off to the airport to meet a rather random but intriguing lawyer. Cape Town was showing off that day. It was warm and sunny and bright. With time to spare, I said, fancy a coffee by the ocean. The sea sparkled, the Mayans chuckled, and so began a life-changing conversation. Kim told me about forward-thinking lawyers around the world practicing holistic law. She affirmed that I was on the right path, gave me a copy of her book, Lawyers as Peacemakers, and told me about all these people, well, lawyers, who were working in a different way, bringing more holistic practice into their legal lives. I studied law because I wanted to make a better world. But what I found that I was doing was propping up a system that often ignored the human factor. I found that lawyers tended to miss that people were the most important part of law. So Kim told me about these future-thinking lawyers worldwide, bridging the gap between law and humanity, doing things like restorative justice, collaborative practice, and values-based thinking. I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I was often embarrassed to admit that I was a lawyer because people immediately put me inside a box. It didn't really fit, and I was trying to create a Rhiannon-sized space in law, but their box came from media and stereotypes. Oh, 20 seconds seems long there. So lawyer jokes imply we're emotionless suits, cold, rational, shark-like, mean, manipulative, always ready to mansplain, even the women lawyers. We tend to escalate conflict at times, and trust, forget it. Everyone in this image is a real lawyer, doing law differently, inside and out, working as hard on themselves as they do on their practice, bringing fresh ways to humanize the legal profession. I'm in there somewhere, I think. To explain their approach, Kim told me about the story of the blind men and the elephant. I don't know if you know it. 6 blind men discovering an elephant. The first blind man feels the side and says, it's a wall. The second one pulls the trunk and says, no, it's a snake. The third, the tusk, it's a spear. The fourth, the leg, it's a tree. The fifth, the ear, it's a fan. And the sixth, the tail, it's a rope. And this is how we explain law. Integrative law is a multidimensional and integrated approach, seeing the whole elephant rather than just a part of it. Integrative law is an approach where lawyers and humans are deeply interconnected. It's based on values like dignity, compassion, and inclusivity, where lawyers work as hard on themselves as they do on their practice. I knew that I had to change the way that I practiced law, so I developed an approach using values. Using values is a way to guide conversations, to have meaningful, deep conversations about things like marriage, divorce, and death. And knowing that I didn't have the tools for those important human conversations, I sought out like-minded professionals to collaborate with. And together we met with a couple, Penny and Dave, who wanted a conscious, values-based divorce. On the day that their divorce was finalized in court, they hugged, and 3 years on, they still mark D-Day and reflect and remain good friends. By working collaboratively, we could explore their story, what got them to where they were, how they wanted to part, and that guided me as their lawyer to shape a process that really reflected their wishes and their values for their divorce. I'm wondering how many of you have approached important legal documents in the past. Did your antenuptial contract reflect your values? If you got divorced, did your lawyer ask you about your vision? Unlikely. Most divorces are unconscious and leave people battered, win or lose. Integrative law is rooted in values, and what it does is uses them to create a process for clients that actually reflects who they are. It's about creating documents that are co-created with intention, with clarity, and shared understanding. I'd like to leave you with some hopes for the future. Imagine a world in which lawyers are peacemakers, problem solvers, and holistic thinkers, where they truly see you in all your fullness, where they work as hard on themselves as they do on their practice. That's the world I dream of. So I was going to end with another lawyer joke, but actually, in my vision for a transformed legal system, they're not really that funny anymore. And what I want you to think about is a system built on love, compassion, and humanity. Wouldn't you prefer your next legal encounter to leave you feeling like you won?
Yes. Perfect. Lawyers with values. Let's do it. Well done.